online auctions have been around for a while, from the point of view of having some sort of camera device where, you're streaming it, and you can stream it a bit like this on a Facebook Live page. That's been there kind of to complement those people that have been in attendance. But then going forward to the next level, which has been remote. Now, remote is a different beast. So remote is very much, if you can imagine that, for those of you that might watch this living in Australia, New Zealand's locked down. So, apart from your family or what we call the bubble, no one else is allowed to come inside. There's no breaching of bubbles. And so because of that, we've had to actually do auctions whereby myself and my business partner, Tim O'Byrne, we've had to do an auction whereby it's in the auctioneer's living room. You have an auction streaming service that's set up. And so essentially, any potential buyers and or the seller, they are watching on screen. The agents are watching on screen. And then what we might have is, for example, here, obviously, you can see me call an auction, but then in front of us, we actually have another monitor with perhaps a Zoom call setup. And on there, we have all the agents on telephones. You can see them on the telephones putting up their hand to place a bid. But essentially, we are completely remote of the property, of the buyers, of the sellers. And that's just, it came about because we had no choice. So yeah.
I love the ability of that.
Yeah, and obviously, it's for anyone that's been on television, perhaps, or as an actor or an actress, looking down the barrel of a camera is very different to, say, being in a theatre where people are there. We talk about vacuums and energy, and as an auctioneer, you've got to be the CEO, the Chief Energy Officer. And so you've got to make sure that obviously you can generate the energy. But when you've got people in front of you, it's much easier to generate energy and to feed off of them as compared to when you're looking straight down the lens of a camera. You're trying to generate the energy here and go with it. And in fact, all that's happening is your dog's on the ground in front of you, looking at you going, when's dinner time? Those sort of things. So it's different, but so remote is where you are completely remote of the property and of, clients, customers, and agents. And online is basically a tool whereby we can be here and people can see us on here, but there might also be an amount of interaction in terms of that agents might be in the same room as the auctioneer with their buyers on the telephone.
Yeah, absolutely. What I'm really excited about with this technology is it's a very real option for me to ring Robert Tulp, one of the best auctioneers in the country, and say to any of my sellers, hey, I can hook you up with one of the champion auctioneers of the country to sell your home. And that previously it's almost been unviable to.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of logistical issues. I think that from a time perspective, I mean, it's fair to say that we get fairly busy. And so, you and I know each other well, but the thought of flying down to Kapiti Coast and being able to call an auction on the one hand, for us, it's a dedicated day. And from your perspective, from a financial consideration, there's normally an exorbitant auctioneer's fee to take into account. We're probably charging you a day rate.
You're worth it all day long.
And airfares, and it does take all day. So have we been there? Yes. We've also done that in the past, but now with the remote auction and the auction platforms that are set up, it becomes a lot more viable in terms of that I could be in Auckland, taking a booking, calling an auction in Kapiti Coast, whereby it doesn't take all day. We can facilitate it. We can get the result. We can give everyone a great experience. As far as value for money, we can do it at a way where we're not charging you any more than what we would do for one time slot in Auckland. So it's very cost effective. People might question, well, how does it go when the auctioneer hasn't seen the property, haven't met the prospective buyers, or even talked to the owner themselves? And what I would say to that is that same as here, obviously we can get to do some sort of form of video call. I can do that with a seller. I do that in Auckland now, time permitting, and with Auckland traffic. For those of you that know, not today. Today's great, apparently.
Auctioning today,
But traditionally, Auckland traffic can be a nightmare. So therefore, to meet the owner before auction, it's very relaxed, just like this, whereby we can answer their questions, talk about a strategy on auction day. Similarly, with prospective buyers, I can do the same thing. Similarly with the agents and with properties, obviously, from having done this for more, you probably weren't even born when I started real estate, Steph. But what but what ends up happening is that we can look at the properties online. We can engage with video tours, so we can get a good grasp of the property without physically attending it. So yeah, it works well.
And it's been happening. This isn't just a theoretical idea. You guys are doing this up in Auckland.
Yes.
Talking about what sort of successes we've seen, and is it working? Are people actually bidding online? Are we selling houses in the country?
Yeah, correct. It's a great question.